everyone, I'm the Peculiar Pisces and welcome to my channel. Today is Friday, June 13th, 2025. This is the Friday before Father's Day. This is Flosstube video number 48. I am back with my weekly recap. Don't mind me, I just took a shower and my hair is still quite wet. I haven't had time to dry it yet. The kids are still asleep. I was watching the opening arguments of a trial on court TV, so I was like, I need to stop this so I can film my video. I'm hoping to get it edited this afternoon and I can get this out to everyone. So let me start with Stitchy Mail. The pattern that I ordered off of eBay, I know I talked about it last week. It came in the mail and it's Teresa Wensler Mermaid. After I finish the Woodland Fairy, this is what I want to go to next because I'll have done a dragon, then I'll have done a fairy, then it'll be the mermaid, then I will finally attack the Peacock tapestry, and then go back to a dragon. So, like, I have plans for Teresa Wenslers all in the future, and I just need to get to them. Okay, so the next thing that I can show you is I have not finished pinning this one yet, but I did pin this one. So this one is done. I've done the filming for it and everything. I just need to do the filming for the pink one, and then I can splice those things together to show you how I do the pinning. Okay, so let's jump into project number one. Project number one is the August Peridot Fairy by Mirabilia. Lighting is just not great. So here's where I am. I finished this first quarter. So now I am working over here. She has a face. It's not backstitched, but she has a face. And I can kind of see the sparkle in this. So this is 28 count. BestitchMe Wild Bouquet Lugana. I said 28 count. I love the opalescent Luganas, or I love the opalescent. As long as it's not a full coverage piece, I want to be stitching on opalescent from now on. And okay, let's see. Okay, so I told you the week of 5/26 to 6/1, which I only worked on it the one day. I did the 3 hours, 33 minutes, and 43 seconds. That brought my total time to 26 hours, 27 minutes, and 7 seconds. And then last week, the week of 6/2 to 6/8, I did 4 hours, 31 minutes, and 16 seconds. And that's brought my total time to 30 hours, 58 minutes, and 23 seconds. And then this week, I've only worked on it so far on the 10th, and I put in 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 32 seconds. So whenever I pull it again, if it's this week, it should be this week. I should get to work on it one more time this week, probably. Anyway. All right, so project 2 is Pentecost by Practical Blackwork. This way. Okay, so here I am. I finished going up. I think I was, had I finished the top row the last time I had done? Anyway, I finished the top row and then I did the triangle parts along the top and down the side. And then I went ahead and worked on this. So I am actually right here starting. for this next area. Coming along. Just coming along. Okay, and then project 2. So the week of 6/2 through 6/8, I worked on it the 2nd, and then I worked on it again on the 6th. And those 2 days, I worked on it a total of 3 hours, 40 minutes, and 9 seconds. And that has brought my total project time to 101 hours, 51 minutes, and 5 seconds. I did not tell you that is 18 count Ada that I hand dyed myself. So far this week, for the week of 6/9 through 6/15, I worked on it on the 12th, yesterday, and I got to put in 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 27 seconds. So I don't have the total times for this week because I don't know if it's going to come up again. Today I'm actually resetting the wheel, and I'll go ahead and spin at the end. Next is Waterfalls of Jade by Nene Thomas. Here's what that looks like. And I am stitching this on 22 count Hardinger that I dyed myself. So here is where you just can't see. The lighting is just terrible. So I'm still at the top, just working along. I have finished the top row on page 1, and so I'm on the top row along this next page, whatever page that is. I guess we could say page 2. Now this one is in Pattern Keeper, so I can give you some stats. Okay, so last week, the week of 6/2 through 6/8, I worked on it on the 4th. I worked on it on the 7th. I worked on it the 4th and the 7th. And then for some reason, I have the time for the 9th written down here too, and added with this instead of during this week. So I wrote down, I worked on it 6 hours, 25 minutes, and 30 seconds, but it's not quite 6 hours. 4.5 hours, I'll say. Yeah, because the time for the 9th should be on for this week, not on for this week. And I wrote down that my total hours on it are 15 hours, 54 minutes, and 51 seconds. Okay, so I am now at, let me make sure that I wrote down, where's my phone? Down here. Let me make sure that I wrote down the correct numbers on the stats. I am at 1,277 stitches complete out of 244,860, and I'm at 0.52%. Okay, I did write down the correct numbers. All right. Well, that's good to know. All right, so I'm at 0.52%. And then project 4. Sorry, I have everything all over the place right now. Project 4 is the Indian Peacock by Dimensions. And it's coming along so nicely. I know it's so hard to see these half stitches through here because they're all like shades of tan on a tan background. But I'm getting pretty close to finishing out this area. It's a bunch of flowers or magnolias or something. Okay, and that one I did for the week of 6/2 through 6/8. I worked on it twice on 6/3 and 6/4. And then it was called again, but I didn't work on it the day that it was called. But anyway, I did 3 hours, 43 minutes, and 13 seconds. And that brought my total project time to 21 hours, 33 minutes, and 41 seconds. And then this week, I've worked on it on the 11th for 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 28 seconds. Now, I told you last week about how I was taking the cross stitches with me to the skating rink whenever I was taking the girls skating. And we have mostly been going skating almost every day. I got skating passes so that it's only $1 per skating session. And they each have their own roller skates, so I don't need to rent the skates. So it's just $2 a day to go skating. And the youngest absolutely loves it, and the older one will like skate for 30 minutes, come sit down, get on her phone, and then after a while I'm like, okay, go skate again, and then she'll skate for another 20 or 30 minutes. So it's at least exercise. So my problem was, if I took one of my main projects, whichever one I spun for the day, I would not be able to take Waterfalls of Jade because of that huge frame. I'm not taking that huge frame to the skating rink. And so I thought, well, I could always work on the project that I did the day before. And which, when I did that, it was the Indian Peacock, which is why I had 2 consecutive days in a row. And then it just so happened that I had reset the wheel and spun again, and it was the Indian Peacock. And I was like, no. I've just worked on this 2 days in a row. Even though, the second day it wasn't called for, but like, I just worked on this 2 days in a row. I can't do that. And then I also had the conundrum where I had reset the wheel and then I spun the exact same piece that I had worked on the prior day. And I didn't want to do that. So I made the decision ultimately that the projects that I take with me to the skating rink, I'm going to try the temperature stitching. And it's not just stitching, it's a bunch of different types of projects. So I listed out projects that I just want to work on, I want to complete, or I want to finish. And I'll be taking those with me to the skating rink, but it will be based on the temperature for the day. And then as far as spinning the same thing 2 days in a row, if I have to reset the wheel and it's the project that I worked on the day before, I will go ahead and just reset the wheel again and spin again so that I'm not working on the same project 2 days in a row. I feel like with me working now that my projects aren't getting the same amount of attention. So in the mornings after I've, woken up for the day and I've, showered and gotten dressed and my kids are still asleep, that's when I spin the wheel and start working on whatever the wheel spin is. And then if we go to the skating rink, I'll just check the temperature on my phone and find what the projected high is for the day and then just work on that project. So with that said, I'm going to show you all of my temperature stitching. I'm not sure who started this. I think it was Jen the Caffeinated Crafter, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But what the idea is, you have 10 projects and you label them 0 through 9. And then you look at the temperature, and whatever the second digit is, not the first digit, but the second digit, that will be your temperature stitch for the day. So like if it's 82 degrees, you would pick whatever is in the 2 time slot, and that's the one that you work on. I said that because it's mostly been 82 degrees here, and I've worked on that number a bit. So let me go through what my projects are, and then after I've gone through all 10 projects, I'll tell you what Well, I'll tell you as I pull them. It'll just be easier that way. So my first temperature project, which has not gotten called yet, for the 0 slot is my Doctor Who diamond painting, which I've shown before. But I just haven't worked on it in a while. I know, isn't it lovely? So, down here is my progress on it. I have all of this done, and then up. I've got a few to finish up in here, but this is the 0 slot. And I feel like I could take this to the skating rink and not have any issues. And then the number 1 slot is the Pansy Crochet Blanket. Like, this is the pattern. It's the same thing. This is the pattern. It was a like Tunisian crochet, and so it was graphed out, much like a cross stitch pattern would be. And I decided to take this and turn it into a corner to corner crochet, where you literally start with your first stitch in the bottom corner, make that, turn it, do the next 2, turn it, do the next 3, turn it, and just keep adding and adding and adding and adding. So as you can see, this is as much as I've actually completed of it. And while I would show you, this did get called, and the day that it got called, I spent fixing all the yarn, rewrapping everything, readjusting everything, and making sure that I could actually work on it and take it with me. Now it's in a giant laundry basket because there's so many colors, and I'm not even sure if I have all of the yellows anymore, but I want to work on this. So this is my project 1. And like I said, it got called, and that day all I did was I pulled it out of the basket. I had to, the cat got a hold of the yarn is what happened. And so everything was just a great big yarn mess. And it probably took me like 2 hours to separate the yarn on this project. Okay. So then project number 2 is, remember I got some of those pre-printed cross stitches. Project number 2 is this purple, am I holding that right? Yeah, I'm holding that right. Is this purple landscape one. I'm not treating this like I treat my other crochets or cross stitches. I'm not taking daily pictures after I work on it. I'm just sort of working on it. So I am, and I have actually pulled this twice, which is why I had said 82 degrees earlier, but I have pulled this twice and taken this to the skating rink twice. I have actually caught up because I started it normal going this way from left to right, and I realized that because it's so rolled up and there's so much stuff over there, I was going to have trouble. So then I flipped it on its side and started working on it going this way. But I have finished almost, like I've got like 22 more stitches to finish out this last block, and then this whole edge of 100 stitches, will be done. So here it is on the back so that you can see it just a little bit better. So I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Like I said, I've taken this to the skating rink twice now. And then project 3. Project 3 will be a wire wrap. And what I will do is I will grab a random stone out of my stone collection. I will take that and the wire and the snips and stuff with me, and I will sit there on my phone and I will watch a video while the kids are skating, and I will wire wrap a piece while I'm sitting there at the skating rink. Okay, so project or number 4 will be French beaded flowers. I don't think I've ever, where is it? I don't think I've ever talked about this hobby of mine that I did every once in a while. Or if I did, I probably blew right through it. But one of the things that I enjoyed doing was making beaded flowers. And many years ago, I originally got this book. This was the first one I got, and I worked on so I did the first project, which was a project of thistle. Then I did the next project, which was marigolds. I then did the irises, and I started working on the forget-me-nots. Didn't really like that particular flower, and then I had made a few of the poppies, but I didn't really make. So when I made them, I made like whole bouquets, and I put them in a coffee mug. And when we lived in Arizona, there was this time I had the flowers outside. So I had the thistle, I had the marigold, and I had the iris. Those were the 3 complete bouquets that I had made, and I had planted them in little, well, not little, but in coffee mugs. Well, one of them was in a coffee mug, and then the other 2 were in small coffee mug sized terracotta planters. So I had 3 of them out for decoration at our front door. And it was after Halloween, but I don't think Thanksgiving had happened yet. So I had pumpkins and gourds out on our front stoop, whatever. It was a 1 level, so there was no step. But out on the front door area, I had the gourds, and they were next to my little beaded flowers. And I was sitting there watching TV, or the kids were watching TV, and I was just sitting there doing something. And I heard like a smash. You've heard a mug when it hits the floor and breaks. I heard that sound. I was like, what is that? What was that noise? Because clearly it wasn't in the house. It was outside. And I went over to the front door and I opened it, and there were like 6 javelinas outside. Which, if you don't know what a javelina is, it's like a wild pig looking animal. It looked like 6 giant wild pigs roaming around in the front yard, and they were eating my gourds, and they knocked over my planters and broke them. So RIP my little beaded flowers. But I have this beaded flower book, the first one that I got. I have this beaded flower book. 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 Oh no! Oh no, my video cut off. I'm gonna have to splice 2 videos together. I set everything on my my computer as I was showing it, and it made my video cut off. Okay, so sorry about that. So I've got all these beaded flower books, and to go along with it, I've also got beaded masterpieces, which I've never worked on. So my goal is to make me more beaded flower bouquets. So that's an upcoming project, whenever it gets called. All right, project 5. Not 5, number 5. All right, so another thing that I enjoyed doing was monk's cloth weaving, or Swedish weaving, or Huck weaving. I've heard it called all those things. Particularly, I am working out of this book, although I have about 4 more Swedish weaving, Huck weaving, monk's cloth weaving books. Now, the project that I have started there's actually, I guess I should unwrap the whole thing. Okay, so here's where I am. This is the center motif, and then these are the diamond parts. So if you don't know what monk's cloth is, or what I know as monk's cloth, it looks like Ada, just like, I don't know, like size 6. It looks like Ada. And when you do it, you take a flat, I believe it's called a bodkin needle. Do I have one on here? Where are my needles? I don't know. I'm going to have to check this, see where everything's at. But you use, oh, here's one. Yep. You use something called a bodkin needle, and it's a flat needle with a large-ish eye. And you just run it. It's like over, under kind of thing. And then you weave in the design. Oh, here's another one. I was like mid-weave there. So that's another project that I started a long time ago, but would really like to finish. So I can take that with me to the skating rink and work on it. Okay, project 6 is this other one you've seen before. I talked about it several weeks back. It's another one of the pre-printed canvases. Oh, that's upside down. It goes like that. It's a butterfly on a black background. It's very solid colors. So here's where I am. I haven't worked on this very much. Here. I did start a little bit at the edge of the butterfly, but I haven't worked on it very much. So this is another one that I'll take with me to the skating rink to work on. As I said, that was number 6. So number 7 will actually be a new project. Well, I've had the pattern forever. Does that count? I have these pattern books for crochet for hooded scarves. And I think I'm going to choose this one and stitch this scarf. It's the yarn that I got from Joann Fabrics when I went during spring break. This is the skeins. So I want to use it up. So I'm going to take that with me. And then project 8 is another one of those pre-printed ones, but this one I haven't started yet. So this is one of those pre-printed projects. It's a white and purple peacock. As I said, I haven't started it yet, but it's a fairly large size piece, and I'll take this with me to the skating rink. And then project 9, the last one, is another crochet. And I'm actually going to have to look for the book, but this one is in various pieces. So it's a granny square cross stitch or crochet, and which way does it go? All right, I think it goes this way. So I have the top edge, sewn together. I have like one motif done, the second motif done. I've got the third motif done, and then I have all the way to the bottom. So let me try this from all the way up here. So yeah, so the top is done, not so much the middle, and so it looks like there's going to be one more motif before the bottom. So, and of course, the back is just a big old hairy mess. So hopefully, over the years, I have not lost any of my squares. Oh, in fact, I was starting to sew the motif together in here. There's plastic bags of granny squares in various states of being sewn together. So it's very possible that all of the squares are done, and I was just at the finishing stage of sewing it all together. Anyway, it's time to get it done. I have to find the book for this. I'm not sure where it's at because it does not appear to be in my project bag, but I'll find it. It's over there somewhere. I know it is. So anyway, those are my temperature stitches, or temperature projects, since they're not all stitches. I have how many I've got one diamond painting. I've got 1, 2, 3 crochet, 1, 2, 3 cross stitches, monk's cloth, beads, wire wrapping. So that should cover a whole plethora of projects. And I know once I finish the granny square blanket, because that seems to be pretty close to being done, it just has to be called. Once I finish the granny square blanket, there's another crochet blanket that I had started. It's not a granny square, but it's an Irish crochet, I think is how it's referred. It's done in different parts, like a granny square is, and it's assembled, but they're not in square shape. They're in, let me see, let me just grab it. Celtic Afghans is what it's called. It's from this book, and I'm not even sure which project it is. Hold on. It's the Celtic Cross. Okay, so it's this project right here, which isn't even on the cover. That's why I was confused. And I've made the inner part of the motif oh, hold on. I'm a little bit further than I thought. So the inner part went to an outer part. And I've got about 3 of them connected together. So after the granny square is finished, I want to move to this one. Hopefully I still have all the yarn and stuff for it, because I don't even know what some of these are variegated. Like the purple is a variegated, and oh, it looks like it's blue and purple variegated. No, it looks like it goes to like cream to green to purple to blue. What color is this? There is yarn. Okay, it's watercolor. That's what it's called, watercolor. Yeah. Okay, so it does appear that I have all my yarn. And I even still have the tag so that if I need to look up dye lots and everything, I'm okay. But anyway, the reason I chose the granny square was because it was further along than this piece. So after the granny square is this one will come in. So I have lots of projects, lots of things to do, and can't think of anything else right now. I've had to change my plans so vastly in the last 2 weeks. It's been kind of crazy. But anyway, I will see everyone hopefully next week, and if not next week, it will be in 2 weeks, because if I can't film every week, it will be every other week. So I will see everyone either next week or the following week after that. Hello, just really quickly, I forgot to show you my wheel. I did not spin for it, and I realized that as I was editing. So like I said, I need to reset my wheel. Okay, and then I will spin. Okay, so today, if I get the chance to work on it today, it's my day off, so I got to run errands and stuff, but if I get to work on anything, I get to work on Waterfalls of Jade today. So I will see everyone whenever I can film again.